You know, I heckled him.
Did you?
I had
Who?
to.
Rickles.
Don
Right.
Rickles. It was the end of his show, and he was just doing question and answering, and I was just way in the back, and I wasn't going to get to meet him, and I had to have an interaction with him.
Yeah.
So I just was in the back, and as he was talking, making everybody laugh, I just went, Donnie! And he didn't say anything. And I waited like another 5 minutes. He kept doing jokes, and then I went, Donnie! And he just looked, and he goes, yeah, I know my name. and then my buddy, like, he hit me. He's like, okay, that was it. That's all I needed.
That was enough.
Yeah. People in front of me were mad at me and shit, and then afterwards I was like, wow, I just really did what...
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I just did that.
Is there anything worse than when you're on stage and you know you have a pause built into something, and then every time you do that joke, you're like, someone's gonna yell, and when they don't yell and you get to it, you're like, oh, another time.
I find
if
I don't think someone's gonna yell, but if you actually go, someone's gonna yell, then it just becomes like someone's gonna. I swear to God, dude, somebody from the back row, the upper deck, can sense that one wavering moment you don't have confidence. It's not even visible. It's something in your voice. They just, I'm telling you, you step back, they all move forward. You step towards them, they sit back.
Animalistic, like the audience senses weakness and they're ready to jump.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
It's just, it's a respect thing. Oh, I like this. Yeah, fuck this. Like this, without even realizing it, they just feel like, and then you become the substitute teacher up there.
Even if it's a weird yell, but a lot of times they'll use it to yell something like that, like nice. Or like they just want to be. They want.
Love you, Jimmy.
Honestly, yeah, it's not. It's usually not a nasty heckle. It's usually not like it's almost never nasty.
Oh, that I learned that watching him, Caroline's, a long time ago. I watched him. Somebody said something. He goes, "What did he say?" And he went, "Oh, okay." And I was thinking like, "Oh, you can do that," because so many times, like the person was like ordering or something, but so many times anybody who was talking, I was so fucking defensive for the first 12 years I did this. Any of them were talking,
You're just on a hairline trigger at all
They
times.
were all saying, "This guy sucks. His career's over. Let's beat the shit out of him." Whatever I was thinking. So I would just, anybody talked, I would just shit all over him. And the amount of, then afterwards, when I was selling my CD, you know, people would come up to me and be like, "I was just getting potato skins," or "I was actually just saying that, that happened to me," and they would be really fucking offended. And then I'd be standing there like, going, all right, yeah. And then I'd always try to remember, like, all right, they're not all. And I mean, thinking, no, it didn't register till I remember I saw you at Caroline's, you did it, and I was just like, oh. I got to try that one time.
You could just be a person and be like, "What did you say?" Oh,
hey, what did you say? Oh, you said, oh, that happened to you too? Okay, so you know what I'm talking about. And you can go back to your act instead of being like, "Hey, nice head, you fucking cunt." And it was just like,
even though that feels better to say.
Did you start? Were you angry when you started comedy, or did that like develop? Like, did you have that tension when you got up?
Not
there
on
from the
stage,
beginning?
I wasn't, but I also I was completely not aware of who I was when I thought I was fine. I thought my childhood was fine. I thought everything was fine. And I got on stage, and then gradually the events that happened preceding my career the waves started crashing on the beach, basically. And where I ended up going in life and where the fuck I was at, I got really angry towards like in my 30s. And
who'd you get angry at?
I was just mad at the world. Like I was an angry guy. I wasn't like literally mad at the world. I was just reacting in anger and everything. And it was like your 20s to me are like, you're just taking out your childhood on the world because you don't know what you're doing. You just left your parents' house and now you're just reacting, to whatever happened, good or bad. And then like in your 30s, that's when as an adult you have to start fucking looking back at yourself. And that's when I started, I think when I was like 35, 36, and I was single again. I'd fucked up another relationship, and I was sleeping on a futon.
Yeah.
And I was just kind of like, doing the whole pity party thing, and chicks are fucked up, and this business is fucked up, and blah, 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 and all that. That was sort of...
It's never you. It's everything around you.
Yeah.
That's all fucked up.
That's when I started to look inward. Continued to fuck up for another 5 years, 6, 7, 8 years, but it started tapering back down. Like it was sort of a gradual ascent of fucking up and then descent. Where now,
so it wasn't like comedy. It was like it was everything in your life, and then a lot of times the anger would just come out on stage.
Yeah. Well, actually being on stage was kind of the place where, believe it or not, I was the least angry. A lot of times, sometimes you're on stage too, and if you're yelling or you're doing these characters, people think that you're mad while you're doing it. They don't realize that you're having a great time.
Right.
But I think it just, it's sort of 41, 42 was when it peaked, and I started to kind of turn it around.
It gets exhausting after a while. Being angry a lot, it's like, ugh.
And I also always read it's the most immature, knee-jerk emotion to have. It doesn't solve anything, and it's a really immature way of handling shit. It's funny to watch.
Yeah, it's great.
Somebody losing their shit. And I actually get a charge out of watching people lose their shit because I so relate to it. But
it's when you take it home with you and it's in the car with you. It's just toxic and it's always there. It doesn't feel good.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that I grew up around a lot of volatile people, and you think in your head, I'm never doing that. I'm not going to associate with people, blah, 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 blah. And then what it is you go out in the world, and unless you've really worked it out, you just gravitate towards what is natural, which is why, all of us lunatics, I think, because I think now, like, we have really healthy back and forth. But when I look back at a lot of that shit at the table, a lot of that was not healthy. Where we were sitting there going, we're toughing each other up to go on stage. But
it was really just all your anger and insecurity.
I used to fucking go, and him and Patrice and Keith and all those guys would be down there. Like, I remember I would be thinking about their faces and everything, and I would try to come up with like 3 or 4 fucking jabs just so I could get to the seat, so I could sit down. And it never dawned on me when it wasn't working for me, because I was really angry back then, to just be like, why don't you just not go there? Why don't you just sit down at another table? Because the way I grew up was that's what everybody did to everybody. So that was the Thanksgiving table, dude. Like when I look back at that, we were just, the broken toys just fucking beating the shit out of each other. I mean, it was fucking... It was fun, it was definitely fun, but there was definitely times where, you and I got into real arguments. Me and Patrice got in real arguments. You got into it with people. Bobby got into it with people. Like, it would then...
Me and Bobby had a real one recently. We were yelling at each other for
That's
something.
Part of being friends with Bob, though. You know that's going to come.
Yeah. And I'll tell you one thing Bobby's good at, though. He calls you, like, dude, look, man. And he calls you the next day. Like, he reached out, and I guess...
You want to hear one of the best Bobby Kelly stories I have? One time we were taking the subway uptown, and he was talking about the business and everything. And I thought I was actively listening and going, yeah, blah, blah, blah. I don't know what I was doing. So he was going to help me with my computer. So he was going to my apartment. So we were walking down the street. It's like the middle of the afternoon. And in my head, I must have tuned him out, because I started thinking like, well, this is fucked up, because he used to live right next to me. He's going to go all the way up to my apartment to fix my computer. Why don't I just run up and get the computer, and I'll bring it down to his. I was trying to make his life easier. Right. So I was thinking about that, which goes back to the whole Catholic guilt of like, oh, somebody's going to be handling my needs. I can't. I got to be more ingratiating.
Can't just
so I
I
guess I wasn't listening. I have no idea. So he was in the middle of talking, and as he was talking, I just go, "Hey, Bob, I'm just going to run up and grab a computer." And the top of his lungs, broad daylight with buildings on either side, so it echoed. He just goes, "Don't interrupt me, cunt!" at the top of his fucking lungs. Like, dude, I'm telling you, when I tell you, dude, out of fucking nowhere, like, he was totally talking, my agent, I just feel like they're not sending me out enough, and I just say, "Hey, Bob," and he just fucking went from 0 to 1,000, and people like strollers fucking looking around and shit, and I just looked at him. I just actually, for some reason, because I was getting older then, I just remained calm. I just said, "Bob, I thought we were past this." And then he sort of had a smirk on his face, and then it just sort of just stopped. And then we went up, we fixed the computer, but it was still dysfunctional because I don't think we quite addressed it.
Right.
But I just said, I thought we were past this. And then he tried to still kind of, and then he just had nothing because I didn't react to it, and the whole fucking thing went away. But it was just like,
that's great.
That's
great.
Yeah, dude, I'll never forget that, man. We were right. I remember exactly where the fuck we were. Not even "you fucking cunt." It was so like, "Don't interrupt me, cunt!" And it just fucking like, I mean, it probably made it to the Hudson, dude. It was amazing. It was actually, it was a performance piece. So I whenever I look back on it, I always laugh. And then I'm also like going like, I can go. Like I went 0 to 1,000. Like, I'm really good with traffic now, but like, when I was just like, watching this fucking thing as it's getting you there, Like this is the mistake I always make. I put in Sirius XM, and for my place, it said it's going to take 31 minutes. But I forget that's at 8 o'clock, and then I leave at 8:15, and now it's saying 40. I'm like, oh fuck! Now I'm not going to get there until 8:50, and then you're driving. Then it starts going 8:51, 8:52, 8:51, 8:54, 9 o'clock, 8:50, and then it just starts building up. I just started thinking, I finally was just able to say in my head, if I get there at 9:05, are they really going to fucking flip out? I mean,
be fine.
We're going to be fine. Everything's going to be fine.
Wait, what did Bobby say to you? What did Bob say when you asked him to go up and get your computer?
when you were like, hey, I'm just going to go upstairs and get the computer.
Oh, don't interrupt me, cunt!
That's going to make me laugh all day.
I want that as a sound clip.
Yeah.
One of Bill's versions of that, it's the greatest thing I've heard in 5 years. I want a version of that. That's so fucking funny.
Dude, and literally talked to me like I was his child. And the greatest thing ever was one of the only times in my life that I didn't immediately match that energy and also block everybody out. Dude, if I matched that energy, his fucking volatility with my volatility and what that would have been we immediately would have been you ever watch those movies about New York where they try to New York it too much and they have these lunatics screaming dude, that never fucking happens. And we would have been like those guys.
Yeah.
Well, we're out of time actually. On the show. That's it.
Don't interrupt me, cunt!
That may be the perfect one to get for this.
I want one of those 4 or 5. Adrian, please look through those. Those are very, very funny, man.
Bill, we're so glad that you.
You gotta have that on when a caller calls.
That's what I'm saying.
You gotta have it. You gotta have it.
Yes, I got a little sound thing now. Believe me, that's going right into the repertoire. That's awesome.
We're
just
so glad
make sure
that
you give the artist credit. Bobby Kelly.
Yeah, Bobby. We're so glad that you hung out, man.
I don't want to be accused of being stealing from his day-to-day phrases.
It was fun. Thanks to
Hey,
Bill
thanks
Burr.
for having me. Congratulations.